Okay, I will wait, as always, for some peeps to come on. And we'll go from there. Okay. Make sure my volume is all the way up. Yep. Okay. Okay, just waiting for a little bit, just to let some people come on and get busy. Hey Dan, how you doing? And I am going to aim that a little bit more that way. All right. Okay. Can you hear all right there? Is the volume good, Dan? Okay. So get ready to paint an interesting painting of a storm. How's the volume? Good. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. So let's get something happening here. Let the others catch up. So I have the Micron, but I'm going to probably use the gravity feed right now. Get into the details and the finer work later. I can probably switch over at that point, but this has been good for mixing. So let's see. Give it a little swish here. Hope you're doing good there. And okay, so I'm going to use the gravity feed airbrush for a little bit. I'm going to work from light to dark. And that's kind of self-explanatory when it comes to trying to lay one color on top of another. You can put white and stuff on top of darker grays by mixing and counterattacking the blue shift, which is a whole nother story. But when I was mixing these colors, you know, when you first just look at this, it might look a little more blue through my cell phone. This is the Micron here. This is an old model that I bought back in the 90s. So it's an SB, CMSB, custom Micron, side cup. And I've been mixing with my Eclipse. It's just an illustration gun, and it has a wider nozzle. So with all the opaque paint that I'm mixing, you know, it has to do with that. Okay, so I did order a small print, but it didn't come through, or maybe I messed up. I don't know, but I like to have a small print so you guys can see the picture. I'll get rid of that. So this is an illustration board. Whoops. That is from back in the day. I mean, I had some in stock, so I decided to paint on it. That's all we had to our name back in the day. I don't have to really worry too much about the line work. You know, this basically is a color, black and white. The guy at the printer told me that my black and whites weren't coming out good, so do a color paper print, satin type finish, and you'll see more details. The black and whites were just too dark. I'll show you one of them, wherever I put them. Everything seems to have wings around here. There they are. Discarded them almost because, like, when you don't have the printer here, you know, you're 32 cents a print, but that compared to this one, which is, I just showed you, it just gets lost in the sauce a little bit, like the details of what the color copy is pretty more like that, pretty much more accurate, I should say. So before I paint, I'll just talk about this for a moment. This particular one is a satin finish. We've got the foreground, you know, that'll be a little later down the road. Hi Patty, how you doing? Yes, I did. I really had a nice time. Went out to dinner with my wife, and you know, so okay. So let's get this thing going here. Hi all. Shriekley, Michael. Hey Michael, thank you. Appreciate it. I appreciate it. Oh wow, we got 17 people on here. All right, so let's get busy. So we're gonna go from the lightest colors to the dark. So I'm gonna work around in here a little bit. When I was mixing the colors, I found out that the actual grays are kind of green. Wouldn't have known it. So when you look at this one right here, let's see, they're in the green family. And unless you're mixing them and looking for the matches, I couldn't really see that. And that through the Drew Blair, you know, color paint thing, we learn things that I'm not teaching on here. You get yourself over to that website and find your way, because you will not regret it. I don't need this shifting on me. Okay. Okay, so here we go. So I'm using the Createx illustration colors that are transparent, and I'm using the white to make opaque paint, as I always say, and some of the colors here. So I have my little, this was the paper I used, trace down paper, put underneath the image, and then just get some line work. Very simple drawing, but I said, why not? Now it gives you exactly where it goes. This was a blown up version of the tornado, but it was too, it doesn't matter which way you go. It was too, just not helping me. It didn't really, maybe on the buildings, whoops. Can you see the buildings down there? That'll help for that. But anyway, let's get some color laid in here. So I'm going to go to the lightest color, and I'm going to pretend I know what I'm doing with this. Okay. And I'm going to use the Eclipse by Iwata. The same gun with the bottom feed has the t-shirt gun, And when I'm mixing colors, I have pretty high paint volume, as far as I have pretty good air pressure going on too, through the compressor. But then I have the Mac valve, and I'm really getting that loud, because I'm trying to push the paint. I don't want to do that on the painting, but I'm trying to mix. So when I'm testing a color, like this, let me just get a copy here of this. So I'll test colors, and I used to do it flat, like on a tray or whatever, but I have a very funky pain in my neck, so I work this way. And I just spray on the end of those to try to find my colors. And then And that again ties in with my own system, but basically if you get involved, and then I can find my colors by numbering them, just so I can say that that one is a little lighter or some are extremely different. So right in here, this cloud right here is going to be, and I'll make a decision on this airbrush right away as soon as I can. Now you wouldn't think this color is going to be correct. So you got to trust, and it's going to really be I'm going to get to this side of the painting so you guys can see. Here's the storm. For next week, I'll get a smaller printout, but I'll just pull that over once in a while. So who would think that the lightest area right here is the color I'm spraying, but the darks aren't around it yet, so let's just get that in there. I'm just going to spray that in there, even over the drawing. That's the nice thing about the whole setup here, is the opaques can really cover. They really cover completely. So if you match a color, go for it. Looks so wrong because you're fighting nothing around it. It's the weight of the board. And if I have a problem and something wasn't mixed correctly, I just simply come in there and go to the white, Yeah, I'm seeing a lighter color come out now. So the airbrush, the first color that you're seeing, let me draw that, might be, wait a minute, it might have been a clog in the airbrush, like a little bit of just clogged up and then the darker was still in there, but I don't think so. I'm going to really put the air on you for a minute, dry that. Okay, so how crazy does that look? All right, so I'm safe to go up in here with some darks because as long as the dark area is not overlapping and dropping down into this area, dark over, the lighter clouds, they're actually like raining down, then you're going to be okay to paint an area like this because there's nothing going on in there. You just go for it. So for the sake of argument, I'm going to pour this back into you kind of have to trust it too. And then there is a correction color if you mess up, which is a whole nother animal. Because it's opaques, you're going to get shifts to blue. And that could look bad when you're trying to keep the green on the sky. That could look really funky. But I definitely need some, I'm going to switch the airbrush over to the Micron. I'm thinking and I'm talking, so I'm sorry. I get a little bit like don't finish what I'm saying or something sometimes. When I watch my videos later just to check out things, I go, man, that's why it's called live, right? But we all have our, little. It's not a studio production, that kind of thing. It's not re-edited later, and it's just go for it, and mistakes and all. So okay, all right. So we're gonna give ourselves some darkness. Now this looks like black, right? You would just grab the black and start spraying, but it really is far from black. It still looks pretty black on the test color. But when you take this, I got my dirty fingers on this, sorry. So let me just force this on here and show you it disappear. See it there? Now watch, disappears. Now, if I took black from the bottle and I did the same thing on a test paper and put it on there, it would look darker. It would look wrong. So just don't trust don't think the darker colors are correct. Okay, just don't think that. Okay. This is a lot of green in it. Matter of fact, I've got a little note here of this darker sky has viridian, right, which is a green towards the blue. It has white. It has cobalt blue, yellow, and it looks like a red for controlling the graying it down more. Red grays the green, and then at one point in one of these lighter mixtures, I put too much yellow in because it is yellowish in there, like more of a green, and it just started looking yellow. It's like, well, I'm not making the grass color, so what the heck? So the first thing you have to think about instead of throwing away the paint is the opposite. Use a color wheel. The opposite of yellow is violet. So I put a drop of violet in there, maybe not even a whole drop, and it killed the yellow. It just kind of set it back and knocked it backwards. The paint was still good, and I was able to continue with the mixture. So that's real important to work with. All right. Again, this is look like an illustration board from way back in the day. The actual place was called Frisk. They made Frisket, and they made illustration board, which is called CS10. That's what the C period S period number 10 illustration board, and the company's Frisk. So, having said that, that's what all paintings were painted on that were illustrations, a lot of them. Not that there aren't any other companies out there, but from the teachers and the people that I met in the 90s, that's the board they were using. And I think the place over in France burned to the ground. And when it burned to the ground, they didn't reopen. I'll get in a little closer here. And it was like the best, to me it was like the best board out there. And I only know that from my teachers. It's like, well, what are you using? Well, this is what we use. The Micron, Iwatas, Olympus airbrushes were popular, and that kind of stuff. So you go to school and you go to seminars and things, and you learn about not only how to airbrush and how to mix, but what materials to use. So you can already see if I had black in there, it would be just darker and blacker. I can't, how else can you say it? So this is going to be a light area. So I'm going to aim up with the airbrush, and I'm going to turn my volume down with the Mac valve. So that controls the amount of volume of air coming out. And in the end, what your compressor's set on, if you max it out, my compressor's set higher. I have another compressor in the house that I used at my school, and I need to take if it's still good, I need to take the lens for the glass to actually see the gauge, because it's so got oiled over and blurry and all that. It's just not useful anymore. So I can't even tell really the reading of my compressor. A lot of it is what I like. I'm used to doing a lot of t-shirts and all kinds of stuff. I like higher air pressure. You still have to be able to control. Like here's a good example of control. So let's zoom in and control along with higher air pressure or volume, and then opaque paint. The opacity can cover. So like, let's just do a little, or dagger strokes. That's not, now with transparency, I would have just probably ruined that area, because as you bring your transparency over that, even if it's a dark transparent, that's going to get darker than what I spray over it. This will get darker, but that'll get darker because more ink's going on it, right? More paint. So, but with the opaques, you can bury all that, or you can let some show through if you're trying to create something cool. Let's just use a stencil for a minute. So the area that I'm working on, it doesn't matter at all if I do something crazy like this. Okay, that's not what the sky looks like. It's It's a skin texture thing from Drew Blair's school. Anyway, it's opaque. This is opaque paint. It has white in it. It will cover it. It will get rid of it and not leave anything there to have a problem. Okay? So the opaque paint is very forgiving. Very forgiving. You can fix transparent problems with opaque paints because they're not, see-through. So that part of the painting, I'm going to zoom out again. That part of the painting is just all dark. Like I say, if you take a sheet of paper to any image you're working on, I don't care if it's I was painting a Corvette one time, and it doesn't matter, but if you block out, say you're overwhelmed by the detail of the Corvette, or you're overwhelmed by this section, well, you just go like that, and this is just one color. So that's done. That's done. Just like that. Sure, you got a little thing going on in there, and then you focus on, well, what is going on there? And is this dark still that dark? Yes. And then these colors in there. And then when you want to, you can isolate this area like that. You can just see that even over here. Look, it's not as dark as this, but it's all solid for the most part until we get into the twister. And then we've got, all kinds of sunlight busting through over here. So the thunderhead and the cell and all that, I don't know which way this tornado's moving. It's bending that way, so maybe it's going that way. I'm not sure. But the bottom line is the darker part of the sky is over here. There's a really unbelievable movie on Netflix called Twister. Not Twister like, with the movie. I'm talking about the one in, it was caught on cell phones. I think it was, oh gosh, I saw it about 3 times already. Gosh, if I think of it later, I'll tell you but it's on Netflix, and it's a true story. It starts in a gymnasium. Kids are graduating, and little did they know, this tornado was an F5, rain wrapped, and it was coming. And they were all inside the high school. It's just like a movie, It's just like, if you didn't know, you would think you were watching a movie. But then when you're when you're with the guys that are in a car chasing it, and they have their cell phone, it's very, like, it's not a high production, at that point. It's just, excuse me. Hey, Steve, how you doing? Welcome to my twister. We've got Dorothy's already in Oz, so we're good there. Yeah, come on, anybody know the name of the town of the movie on the movie on Netflix? It's a real story called Twister, and they happened to all have phones, and they were caught in it. And it was unbelievable because they were inside the cement buildings, and the buildings literally took the bricks right up off them. They were being pelted, and it was being recorded live. Unbelievable. So now we're going to come over here by the lighter color, and these are all going to be just laid in, almost like we're thinking about a puzzle. Sorry, guys, I'm going to bring that phone over here more. Yep. So the twister, that's too low a volume, and then it gets speckly. So I'm going to kind of just treat this. I'm going to stay away from the drawing part, the edge, because I'm pushing it upwards away from the lighter color, and just because it's going to rain down onto the lighter colors. And right now, I'm just, where's my light area? Right there. So I'm going to kind of ghost it in a little bit right there, tip dry. You get a lot of that with the opaques. You can pull the needle back like that. I think, Steve, you had a nice demo. I think that was last night, right? I looked at it later, and I was learning things of, to do with getting up close, how to control the airbrush, how to do this, that, and the other thing, and it was really good. So that was on Steve Leahy's channel, and it was question and answer time. So especially for beginners that really want to get some valuable information that us early birds didn't have. My information came from people like Terry Hill, who unfortunately we lost a couple of years ago. And yeah, I had his videos, VHS. My wife and I just purchased a new DVD player because ours, tanked out. But we have home movies that we had converted recently, and they are wonderful. But we couldn't watch them. It's not really even for the DVDs. We got it put on a USB, plug it into the TV kind of thing. But we have a lot of DVDs that are just sitting around, so it made us think, well, why don't we get that going again? Because you can't watch any of them. They're just all sitting there. Some good movies. Okay. So I'm bringing the black across. There's grays. Tornado is in the gray family as opposed to this black. Um, I'm going to aim up again. So I'm tilting the airbrush up. Steve Leahy was talking about the air being on always. Drew Blair puts the finger right there. I'm a combination of both. But by putting it at the joint, he can rest the ligaments more, and you can also just tweak it a little bit like that. And it's just, when you paint as much as some of these guys are full time, you all have different ways of doing it. I saw one guy with the thumb. He had the big gravity feed. I forget who it was. It might have been Mark Fredrickson, who's all digital now. I'm talking about guys from back in the days of the airbrush getaways, and wonderful to meet these artists in person. So I'd be watching all these VHSs, and Terry Hill would take you on the dot and line daggers, and because these T-shirts mainly, and it was just amazing to meet, because he was like a star through the through the video world. And then you meet him in person. Got my picture taken with him and all that kind of fun stuff, and sat in on the classes many times. And then you find your niche. My niche was not to stand at a mall and paint, T-shirts all day. I didn't have the interest in that. Plus, I owned a sign business, and I lettered boats and things like that. So I wasn't in that area. But the whole cool thing about it is that when you're meeting these artists and you start to find out what you want to do. Now I'm going to just let this fog in a little right there. I know that's getting dirtied up. One of the nice things about this illustration board, it was really great, just like better than clayboard in the sense of, okay, I got to sharpen this. I found my trusty sharpener that I got from Blick Art. Really great at color pencils. You could just see how it's doing that. But this had paint on it too. So this is the aggressive eraser. So back in the day, I mean, you could start to erase out. So let's say, I know this is not flesh tone or anything, but let's say we're going to do my Drew Blair sells skin pores stencils. But back in the day, I was in his class right there watching him, and he'd do little circles like this. I don't know if it's going to show up too much. And you just got to crash over another one and then go back in with the flesh tone. But you could erase out. This board was great, the S10 board. It's all we had, but you could erase out. Couldn't use Windex on it, or I don't think so, but It was fun, especially in the lighter transparent colors. This is opaque, but you could start to do all kinds of texturing and things like that. And it was just great. So that's where you get the training back in those days. Now, let's see. Let's just start bringing another color down over here. So we have this, and we got to pull back out. Let's see. Okay, we want to kind of be in this range, right around there. Okay. Joplin. Okay, it just came to me. Joplin was, Joplin is the name of the town that got blown off the face of the earth. It's on the movie. The documentary is on Netflix, and it takes you right through the whole thing, and you'll see the sky in that movie. They'll because it's not a movie. It's real. They're filming it while it's happening, and these guys, this girl and two guys, might have been a brother and then a friend, chased it like any normal thing. It's like, well, let's go chase the tornado. But little did they know, the closer they got to what was the tornado, which was rain wrapped, they couldn't escape. I mean, the one guy, he was a YouTuber, he passed away because he got pulled through the sky roof of a truck. His friends, they were all in the air. I don't know how they survived it. His friends were trying to hold on to each other, but they say in the story that they saw him just the legs go out and he was gone, and they couldn't find him probably for, I'm going to say, weeks. They found him eventually. Unfortunately, I think it was in a lake, but unbelievable. You got to look at it. I mean, it just will let you appreciate, not living in an area like that, right? Okay, but it's just an incredible thing. All right, so I'm going to take my gray. Now, I found out that this pretty much, I wrote on here, dark sky. I wrote on here, dark sky. Now, that is darker, but that's not much darker because the bottom of the sky is starting to get dark again. So I'll just spray it a little lighter, but it's pretty much the same color. We're talking color to the reality of a cloud, right? And so that's how I'm going to navigate around this. So if that's dark sky, then we want to start putting that in. I'm going to use, I don't have anything ready to do the grass or anything. That's going to take a while. So let me get a stencil just to go along the bottom there, and I will use probably the big shield. I didn't cut anything out. So let me just do that. I got black and whites here. It's not a straight ruled line. It's just, actually it's going uphill. It's like this goes uphill and then goes down. So I have it right here. And I have a cutting mat right here, which I can't quite, I can show you by sliding that over now. I'm backing this out. I'm sorry. Come on, back out. See the cutting mat? It's 2x4. No, 2 inches. 24 inches by, let's see, 18. This might be 18, and by 24. That's my desk, that area. So it's a really nice cuttable surface. Very easy to cut on. Okay. I'm going to look for it. It seems to be right there. I've got some lumpy stuff in the way there, so I'll just go lower. And I'm going to just follow that line. Let's see, where is it? Right here. And give myself a little bit of a shield. The buildings, wow. The buildings back there, they're going to be paintbrushed in. So it just sinks right in really nice, and I went a little high there, but that will work. So I need, obviously, this one. Okay. So I'll just bring that over and up. Let's get rid of the bottom because it's hitting. Old school. Oh, you saw that, Dan? Yeah. I mean, I don't like any of this in real life as far as, but I do like to watch movies like Geostorm and San Andreas. I don't want none of that to happen in real life, obviously. But, now it's getting crazy because it's just crazy. It's crazy stuff. There's stuff happening that is not out in Joplin. It's in different areas now that even we have little earthquakes, and I'm in New Jersey, and it's just the weather has gone wild of biblical proportions. There's no way around it. There's a lot more I know about it, but some people might think, oh, well, that's conspiracy stuff. I did my homework, and we'll leave it at that for now. Okay, so this black, this color here is more of a greener color right in here. So, but the black is kind of in here. And it doesn't matter if I spray the other gray later. When it's real extreme, that's when you want to get into that kind of thing. You want to make sure you're doing the light to dark. Just clean that up. I'm not worried about the smoothness and the softness of the clouds. If a color's wrong or whatever, I was rushing. I don't usually go out shopping on my YouTube day, and I try to prepare for it a couple of days in a row, right? Mix colors and all that, because it's not just transparency. I'm really mixing and painstakingly trying to get things to be right for the video, for the stream. And I was out at Stop and Shop and Aldi's and Walmart, and I ran into some problems with I was really upset actually because I kind of shot myself in the foot, you might say, with being out too long, coming home to much more work than I thought. And so, oh, well, it's just the black and white area. No, it's not. It's not black and white at all. It's colors. Dark, but it's colors. So I just put that in there because I'm seeing it there. So we're getting like, in areas that the crossover where you want that lighter first is got to have the right colors working its way out. I can't drop down some of these nice fall away clouds because they're not, there's no color under it. The tornado is, what color is the tornado? Let me see. Okay, so the tornado is basically that little window. These grays are very close, but there's a difference. And you can see it. That one obviously is light. That's pretty much the tornado color. And maybe that one first. And then, you know, so it's like two grays that are close, or it could be the same gray that you could put a little more white in it or darken it. It's not another hue, which is a name for color. Okay, so let's get that color in there. Okay, so I'm getting the blackish color is out, which is a greenish black, which you see in a storm of that magnitude. You start seeing the sky turn green. I saw it on the ocean, on the Atlantic Ocean here in New Jersey. I was working for a roofer, which I lasted only, that was my last day on the job because of the heights. I was like, he could see that I couldn't even stay up on that roof. It was one of those big ocean mansions that have one roof and then another roof, even though the ladder's, you know, huge and you went up to the first level. And you get all the way up to the other different sections. I couldn't move. So he had me just bring shingles up on my shoulders up the ladder and stay on the ladder. I couldn't even get off the roof at one point. It was like, I didn't know it was that bad, but it was. All right, so what color did I want for that? Number 8. So what is 8? Give me a second here. I don't know why I numbered it. Okay. Just got to look at it. 1 is this. 2 is a little darker. So let's just go with 2. I didn't make a lot of these mixtures, so like I said, I ran out of time. I was tracing down the light drawing at quarter 20 of 7. I spilled my dirty water, you know, the mixing water, spilled the whole thing tipped. Didn't the whole cup didn't go on the floor, but it tipped on the tray, and all of it went down on the floor, a good part of it, and I had that mess to clean up. What could go wrong, right, Steve? Yeah. Okay, so let's get that next color here. This should be a little darker. By looking at these, you know, you can see them a little, that's darker version of it. So let's see what happens. Oh, I need some 4021. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? There it is. So my paint's been sitting for a little while. The 4021 reducer is a fantastic, I can't be without it product. I'm just putting in about 7 or 8 drops. Get a clean paintbrush and stir that around a little bit more. Wake it up. You also can back off on the, I probably could make a stencil here. I can come back in with that later. Just get down in here for a minute. Get color around color and get rid of the white area. There's a color shift there because it's going blue. Kind of air drying it as I go down too. Oops, sorry guys. See the color, I'll show you a color shift right here. That's just going like blue right there. So let's just put this in here. Yeah, this one's got me a little puzzled on the shifting there. So I'll probably be using some correction colors to get that to just not do that, to make it look like the photo. So I'll just go along and you'll see the progress over the next couple of weeks, and you'll maybe look back at this part and go, man, did that guy know what he was doing? And hopefully you'll be able to say, wow, you know, it really hold this off the surface and just kind of don't let the stencil, the paper stencil hit. Let it be a little out of focus. So right up in here, there's the lighter sky, and you won't know it's really lighter until darks are around it, right? So we got to just put it in. I drew a little line just representing how to bring it out right to about there. And then the dark's going to crash right into it. So I'll just kind of fill this area in right here. Yeah, in the early stages, it can make you go like, is this going to work? Is this coming out good? Or does the artist know what they're doing? And can they fix it too? So if you look at some of my other videos, you'll see mistakes, and hopefully the mistakes will teach you more than some of the routine stuff, because the mistakes are where you learn. You know, it's like when you do a step by step in a magazine. I got this information from Drew Blair, saying you don't see, it's like edited. You know, they're doing their thing, and you're not going to see what they went through to get that step by step, say 19, 20 different steps. You're not going to see it. I can bring this over, and there's a color shift right there, but then we'll bring the color right back over it. Okay, I see a little bit up in here. That color there. Just going to put it in. Just have it waiting. And I can always paint on top of the dark and then control the color shift, which would be, oh, sorry guys, I should be zoomed in more. Which would just definitely be, well, the colors, I lost my train of thought, so let's just forget that one. That's happening a lot. I turned 71 yesterday, so I do have some kind of an excuse. And I don't like that right there. I don't understand what's going on. Tint over that a little. All right, so I'm going to be using some rescue with the other thing. Let's get the rough tornado put in. So we have, get in the habit of putting if you're using this method here, get in the habit of the snap lids. Make sure they really snapped on, because they can go tumbling, and they do. And this way you're organized. You could take this next week, like as long as I got about 1/8 of an inch, even 1/4 inch, 1/8 of an inch, even less. In the 4021, just put it in midweek, stir it a little bit. I've even done that with water, but the 4021, my colors have gone 3 weeks. I've woken them up. When I say wake them up, they're not hardened like acrylics, but they look like they're dried up and they're not going to paint no more. And the 4021 goes in there and comes back to life. It's really cool. So, okay, where is my gray? Hold on one second. It's right here, and I never put a lid on it. But at least I got it. I'm hoping this is it. So there's a good example. It looks like it's very thick. It's hardly, see it? It's like very thick. I think that's the color. And what I can do to make sure is I could show you how I test it. I don't know why. I'm probably trying to get things ready and typing in the information and going live and all that rushing. I forgot to label it and put my sample test piece on there. And so I'm thinking this is the color, and I'm going to test it right now. I'm going to get a paintbrush and a little more of this, just a number of drops. On the website it says, let this cook, let that 4021 go in there and sit for a little bit so it does its thing chemically. But I didn't even know that when I first got it. I was just using it a little bit more. I want it to move. And my water that I use is distilled water. I don't use the water out of the tap. We don't drink the water out of the tap. At our house, we even make ice cubes from distilled water. because water is not so, it's not good here. My wife is more sensitive to it, so if she wants distilled water bottles, then we got them. All day today, I was trying to figure out how to get my old GoPro to work on the phone. It is a Hero 4 session. Session, yeah. Come to find out, I need to download GoPro for a year that you have to pay for, huh? What does that mean? GoPro, you're going to use GoPro for your camera, Michael? Is that what you're saying? Okay, so let's get this other color in here and see if Michael can answer that question. Okay. Yeah, so this green coming out right now, there it is. Now let's find out if we've got something close. I'm not going to do like all kinds of testing. I'm going to bring the photograph over, and I'm going to bring that up there, and I'm going to spray it very dark, air dry it a little bit. So that's not even close. That's not the color. So that thing I just left on the side tray here, the cart, was not it. It was, let's see. Here's something over here, but that's not it. Is that it? That might be it. That might be it. Let's see. It's kind of dark, too black. It's like this up here. And if I spray this later, I won't get that. I won't get that same thing. So, okay. So what I'm going to do with this one, what was this? Yeah, it's just not it. So I'm going to take a combination of a new cup. This is just guessing right now. I'm going to put some of this in here along with some of the darkest and see what I got. It's just a tornado. I don't have to freak out, right, as far as getting that match. Okay, so I'm seeing it getting closer, but I know there's white in it. This is not how I mix colors normally, but I can always go over this later, but I need something right now. So I got the white in there. That makes it more opaque. You could do things like this for a quick check. You can go and then air dry that. Spraying it's better. Bring it over, just get a quick, but you definitely have to dry it because the shine, everything about it is not good. It's not what you're going to look at on the painting because it's a paintbrush. You know something? That could work. Let me just paint that more 100. I'm going to airbrush that. Oh, I used the wrong color. Remember, I had the airbrush paint. Just going to go for it. I mean, it is, I'm put a little more white in it. 2 drops. And like I said, if I need to adjust things later, an opaque can cover and a correction color under it can help it. So let me just do this, but with more reducer. And just try it. And if you get a lot of color versions like that, you can spray right on them, right on the picture if you want, or you can, so I'll just spray a little bit here. Testing it, just on the side. So I'm going like that. Oh, that's the painting. Okay. That's what I'm doing it on the side. Okay. Okay, Michael. Well, there's more. It's definitely darker. So I'll put some black in it. Put more black in it. That's this color. Let me look inside my airbrush. Okay. mixing on the fly. I don't like doing it this way, but there is a way out. Yeah, I was always interested in landscapes and things like that, but I don't think I really knew how to, like I would paint pictures of building. I drove a truck, you know, like for delivering parts back in the day for the for Chevrolet. And I would, I would be interested in, I got interested in the sign business through that, but it was just something that I just saw so much artwork on the road. It was amazing because you're driving around looking at everything. It's just there because you're on the road. So if you see a tow truck lettered or whatever, it's just all there. This is needing to be a curve the other way. Okay, hold on. What do we got in the built-in curve department? Mr. Big Shield buried down here. Okay, so maybe I could find on this big shield that shape. Okay, so I gotta look for it, see if I can find it. It might be kind of there. It's got its own little, yeah, that should work if I elevate it a little bit. I'm just gonna try it. Pencil line down there, start at the bottom and start to bring that tornado color up a little bit. Okay, between this color and there's a little bit of a hard edge there, but it's all going to get lost in the darkness. I'm just going to lay this in with even the wrong color. It doesn't matter to me because I got the dark waiting. Remember, we got this. We just want differences here. You'll do things like that later, but not now. Can leave a little white there. Leave some white there. This is definitely too green. So let's see what happens. Let's come up. Tornado, freehand, stay inside the shape. Get darker at the top. Have something to work with now. You know, it's kind of like I said I wanted to have a little green hue, so I'm going to just dust this in over that color, a green sky kind of look. Now I need this in there, so the shield can go off to the side. Okay, so we can start to see if we're getting there. Yeah. Okay, so at this point, the darker comes in. Okay, and all the actual beautiful clouds will be put in. Let me get that shine off there. Sorry, guys. They'll be put in, you know, where they're almost like the white clouds that happen in, you know, right before the thunderstorm, the big thunderheads and stuff. They're kind of that. So I'm going to just run this right into that color a little bit over here. Put a little color over here. Crash that into this one. I wanted to play around from the photograph and have more of a disturbing green kind of thing going on. So I'm going to take the dark now, the real dark. I'm going to flush this with a little bit of little bottles for water. A little bit of the distilled water. And then you got the cleaning station. This happens to be an Iwata brand. Got it at probably Hobby Lobby, maybe. I'm not sure. Fantastic though tool to have. It's kept a lot of overspray down and has a filter for anybody that doesn't know. And it has the glass jar that needs to be cleaned out from time to time. It's time. Oops, sorry guys. Okay, I have an arm, a flexible arm here, and I usually have a stabilizer, piece of tape. It's all, like I said, old school. I'm not able to get all the fancy cameras. I have a Nikon and stuff like that, but for this is going to always probably be old school, not like, Scott McKay and those guys with the fantastic, Steve Leahy with all the stuff you know, they're young guys. They're investing in their future. I'm an old man. This is good enough. No. Okay, so let me make a correction color. I'll tell you what I'm doing too. Let's see, number 8. Really? So we've got the darker, before I do that with the clouds, we've got the darker right here. I call this almost like an underpainting actually, because that's what I want to call it. So let's turn down the volume. I gotta be careful here, I'm getting too dark. Let me just spray it lighter. I'm gonna show some dark areas in here a little bit, like that. Just set it up. And then run it down the tornado a little bit. Right at the top, just a little bit. Somewhere around there. It's still blurry, out of focus, but so is the real one on here. Okay, now I'm gonna get that. See, now if I had extra pictures, I could cut this off. I could put this green there. Let's put it on this side. Just to tape it on here and say, well, there's that. How far off then does the rest of it look? That kind of a thing. This is definitely a grayer. So right now I'm just going to use a correction color a little bit, or because I don't want it to really shift to blue. So I'm going to offset it with a little orange, which a lot of people know that, because blue is the opposite of blue is orange. White is the color that shifts, and it shifts, and it can, like I saw a guy try to repair. It was a book he was trying to repair, and they printed it. I have the book somewhere. It was like they thought that was good, so he messed up. Got a hand. It was a hand shaking a hand with so two guys in suits are shaking their hands, but they messed up and got a brown burnt umber kind of spot on his arm, and they go, "Oh, that's an easy fix. This is a book now." And I already knew from going to school and all. I already knew what that was, and I was like, "Okay, let's see how they fix this." Well, he just sprayed it over with some white. And by the time he was done fixing it, it was like zombie skin in that area. It was off. The brown flesh tone that he tried to spray back over this regular white shifted, and they left it in the book. So I was showing my students over the years, just like, here's a good example where the professionalism of that company and that whatever, I'm not even remembering who they were, had a color shift problem, and they thought they were happy with it. They were happy with the repair. And I was like, whoa. And even if I didn't know how to fix it, you would have said, well, that's not fixed. That's not right. Keep in mind, when this green comes in here, which will not be the green that comes out of the bottle, too yellow, too bright, too at the edge of the color wheel, it'll have The greens will have red in it. The green, the moss green color will have black in it, maybe some violet. I'm talking speckles, shifting it and pushing it until you get that green, those greens. Painting all this cool and then making this too bright will look like a cartoon. So you gotta work it. So let me get my white. Now I have to buy my solo cups online because the company, the two companies that one was right next to my son's studio, they went out of business. COVID knocked them out, I think, and restaurant supply houses. And then whatchamacallit, the other one was, I think, they were just a family business and maybe they were getting up in years. They were older people that were always working there. And I mean, like they're ready for retirement, maybe past retirement. And all of a sudden it was gone. I was like so disappointed, but they weren't going to stay open for me. I was just buying a little bit of, just a little bit of solo cups, not restaurant supplies, right? They sold them to me, but they're gone. So I got to go to online now. All right, so all I'm doing is taking the paintbrush, the white, and I'm offsetting this with a little bit of orange to make it, most of the time I make you guys guess it, but so many people know that now. I just know that from watching other things that it's basic color theory, but then there's how to use it too. And I don't always use it right. When I'm saying, like Drew, he's a fantastic artist all the way around, but he knows how to adjust colors and use the shifts and even use the shifts to his favor if he sees that he needs some blue. But you get his color theory course and you'll go on a journey. Okay, so it's Drew Blair, and it's a journey you'll be so thankful you spent maybe $250. Get it, get it, get it. I'm telling you, you will be so happy because even if you don't want to do photorealism, your color theory, I'm elevating this, guys. Your color theory will be off the charts. It'll be so, you'll be so excited. It's almost like science and stuff. Let's go in here with a little provoking, a little shift, maybe. And I got to turn the volume down. I'm going the wrong way. And you got to go after the tip try. So let's see. Any questions here? Thank you. I think the next 4 helmets is going to be more fancy. Yeah. Michael, you've gotten, your work is really amazing. It's coming so far. And just hats off to you. So this is shifting blue still, okay? So that's not going to work. So, whoops. So I'm going to get what? More orange to counterattack the shift. Oh boy, where's my little brush? There it is. So I just got a little droplet out on the palette, and now I've got an orange white, kind of a light flesh tone, but it's not really. It's maybe another drop of white in there. And here we go, maybe a little bit more of the reducer off on the side. Get it to spray lightly. Stir it one more time. Where is that? Yeah, if anybody wants to share this to your own page, if you're enjoying it, or you want to see if I ruin this, whatever your motive is. Like, this guy's an idiot. Whatever your desire is, sharing it, and if you are enjoying and getting something out of it, liking it makes the algorithms really go off the charts. And, it's just going to help more people. This is not a monetized channel. I think they're talking about it, meaning YouTube. Emails are coming saying things to me like, I guess it's getting near time. I have I think 2,000, getting near 2,500 by maybe 60 more people or something. But as it grows, the more I did live streams, the more it started to grow. The more you pay attention to your channel. But I'm not full time in this, so I'm not thinking of it like that, you know. But if it does grow to that point, that's way too bright, right? But I can lay down a foundation here. Yeah, it's shifting blue, but it's still showing something more dramatic in the sense of a. But this will receive the lighter greener colors because it will repair all that black under there. You know what I'm saying? The pencil line's right there. Sure, it's too white. Kind of overkilling it here a little bit. You can find some shapes here, right there. So once there's overspray, then you got problems. Kill that harsh look there. It's not the right, you know, it's not right yet, but I will make this happen. I just gotta, I might have rushed too much on mixing today. Just trying to build that up. I can always tint over it. It's just too nice of a day in here right now, right? Air dry, it's starting to spider a little bit. Getting pretty heavy-handed with this white, so, but I'll do some adjusting. Okay. Okay, so I'm getting a little bit away from my original colors, but that does have orange in it. So let's see what happens if I gray down the tornado a little bit. There we go. That's not as dark, but it's definitely, I like it than what I originally put on there. Okay, so that's enough of this lighter color for now. Let's, boy, it's getting warm in here. First it was chilly, now it's getting warm. I have a fan overhead too, that, and I have a fan in the window, sliding window, sliding, and yeah, that lets out the exhaust a little bit. Let me just, so this is where you can, for people that don't use these things, that just seal it in there, and you don't breathe it in. And you got a little bit of heavy spraying from doing a big background or something, then you can just, you can go ahead and keep that down. Open your window, put your fan on. I'm going to put the overhead fan on. Another way to paint this too is just all kind of like a grayscale, like a grizel, whatever they call it, and then add color later, you know, with transparency. Okay, so I'm going to, yeah, looking at this, I see almost like the black and white type of gray right in here, but it's probably got brown. Looks like it's got brown in it, just holding it like this. But okay, so let's get the, where are we going to? The darker color, right? No, we're going to put a lid on this one. Make sure you snap it, because I've done that too, where you don't snap it and it's not all the way on. Okay. Get a little wet my whistle with my water here. Well, thank you, Michael. And I learned from the same people. I watched Steve. I watched, of course, Drew. I went to his. I'm under his thumb by choice for his style. Timothy got me really into the inks, and he's his methodical way of teaching. Timothy John Luke Smith. He. That's the neat thing about it. You go to different teachers. You know, Tim has a 1% rule, I think, where it's like you spray, don't overshoot, don't go past that, 1 second, because once you do, it's hard to back out. You've kind of messed it up a bit, and then you got all the other guys that have their styles. Let's see who else you got. Scott McKay, right? Painting automotively. So there's a whole nother, thing that I'm into, like the fine art. He's into the fine art of metal and painting on helmets and all. So yeah, if I wanted to up my game right now, I would hang out on that channel, because these are experts. These are guys that teach at we call them getaways. You know what I mean? Scott will go out and teach at different places, and you just go on his channel and it's all there. It's like you can buy his artwork. And then of course you got Drew, who has DVDs. Actually not DVDs, I take that back. It's you get them through the email, and you get your color theory class, or how to paint a tiger, how to paint a wolf, how to paint the aurora, northern lights, whatever. He has even I think the two cherries. I think his wife Sylvia did that video, and you just look at the cherries and you can see the depth, like a candy apple, where you could see all the texture underneath. And I'll look at that online and I'll go, I want that video. Why? Why can't you paint that? Well, because there's techniques that I don't know, and it's like, how do you get? What did she do to get that? And so you own the video and you control it. You own it for life. It's not a video that you get on a DVD, though. It's an email, and you own it for life. It's to protect him from people buying a DVD and sharing it or copying it and that kind of stuff, which is very smart business, protecting himself so he can get the most out of his sharing with us, right? And it's worth every penny, too. It's worth every penny. So don't hesitate if you're looking to buy. If somebody has something to sell, or you can hang out on a channel like Tim's or Steve's. Steve Leahy's channel is phenomenal, and he's got different things to offer. He's got the YouTube, he's got Instagram, he used to be on Facebook, all of us, but we all bailed that because it was such a horrible tiling and shutting off during the live stream. Not that YouTube can't do that once in a while, but we jumped ship, and I advertise on Facebook, but some people think I'm not doing this anymore because they're used to seeing my weekly Facebook Live, and it's not there anymore. Plus now Facebook's making you only last 30 days. In other words, you won't be building up. Somebody might say, hey, did you ever paint this? And say, yeah, I've got it in my archives. So you could go to and then you could share it. And they'll be like, thanks, how to paint a cat's eye. No, they take it down, and it goes away forever. Unless you saved it to your own somehow. I don't know. Okay, so I'm going to get my dark again. Dark sky. So let's get this going here. No, I wanted to go back to the lighter green, the gray. So I'm going to take this color. I'm going to tint on top of the cloud that's white. I'm just experimenting. The nice thing about this whole scene here is if I am really losing this picture, I could come in and just do layers. I think Drew said it doesn't matter if this color is 8 inches thick, it will never change its hue. It'll always be the same color because it is opaque. So let's get this to knock that cloud back into the other cloud a little bit. There we go. It's not shaped yet. It has no, I can cut out the edge of the real picture and go in with shadows later and pull things this way and that way and cause some color shifts, but it's starting to go a little bit more of the green. I'm going to get the darker green now because I'm just using my eye for this, not worried about. That's the number one lightest so-called cloud color. I'm going to take the next one and treat it like a transparent in the sense of spraying it 50%, say. That just means you're not going to cover. It won't go 100 until you spray it over and over in the same spot 100%. And then with the color you mix, that'll be it. But you can also back off with the airbrush here and just use it like a transparent. Like, let's get some gray behind this one. Try to shape that cloud a little. Looks weird at first, but air dry it. This should separate it. Might have to get into some darks in there a little bit more. I'm just going to kind of put this color in there like that. There we go. Now we're starting to see the difference. It wasn't coming out. I should have tested it. See that? Air dry it. Come around this way. Come up, over the top. Creating that. Air dry it. It starts to look wrong. Air dry it. And then bring in. These start to pop out more, and they're going to have little things going on inside them that will create that rolling, beautiful look that clouds do. And then this gets just a whole nother color over there. So slowly but surely, hopefully, I can build this into a nice thunderhead-ish cloud. Air dry it a little bit more. Now I'm going to kind of outline this a little bit. Go more 100% right at the top of the cloud because it's darker there. Split this up a little bit with some darks and lights. Air dry it so you get the different shapes. Come in here. Let's get some raining down because that's what it's doing. Air dry it. It looks really weird while it's wet, right? Let's go in there and see that better. Okay, so watch what happens. There's a craziness that's going on. Looks real wet, right? And it is. It looks like it's going to stay that way, but air dry it. And you get the real value of what I'm looking for. See? Now I can add more darkness to this original color. I just got to look at my mixture and create this. Get in real tight here. Right at the bottom. It's right in there. Let's back out a little bit now. See, now something's happening there. Got rid of that shifty, crazy looking thing. Air dry it. Get closer over here. Get dark. Don't worry about the shift because I'm going to bring the black over that. Let's get a little light by the edge of the tornado. That's about far. Then dry it. Now the contrast is more interesting. Here, don't worry about all those other hang down clouds that you put in with the darker color. Break this up in here a little bit. Air dry it. Just trying to find the shapes. That's all I'm doing here. And this can be kind of a glowy area right here. Make it kind of fade out. Pull away with the airbrush so you don't have an edge there. All right, so what I'm going to do with this color is I'm going to add more of what makes it darker. So I'm going to look at my original mixture, which is this one, white, black, cobalt, blue, and yellow. And so it doesn't need to be greener. It needs more black in it. Something just fell. Oh, that's Drew's wonderful paint poster I have. Let me go pick it up. It's curling. I got all kinds of posters on the wall here that are just phenomenal. I'll have to ask him if I can show his work up close. I don't want people thinking it's mine, so I got to ask him to show a poster of his jets or whatever. Oh my gosh, heat distortion, metal, galvanized metal. He's got it all down. He's got it all down. It's like, who taught him? He's an alien. All of them are. I mean, Steve Leahy, what planet did he come from? Microscopic painter, painting razor blades, painting Tokyo. On what, 5x7? I don't even know what it is. The nice thing about the airbrush is too, you can back away and get those little, like Steve was demonstrating yesterday. You can get those soft little softness here. We'll just kind of bring this in. It's not the white anymore. And this will get darker. It's the green kind of. So I'm going to take this green, the darker green, and I'm going to put a black in it now with paintbrush. So I'll put a drop of black out on a palette. As soon as I find my black, they all start to look the same after a while, the darker colors. And I will carefully mix this. So there's that color. So let's try a little, see what happens. Stir it in there and get just a little bit darker, you know what I mean? And maybe one more little tip of the brush, just to show how much a little bit goes a long way to outline those clouds. It's opaque mixture. So now my original mixture is darker. And I will go around the top of that cloud there again. There, now it's coming out darker. I'll go around. Now this darkness doesn't go all the way out. This darkness kind of cuts. I'll try to do it freehand, but I probably could do a little bit of stenciling here later. Just go around this. Give me a second, because remember, it's got to dry. Dry it. There it is. It's darker now. Some areas are darker. That's this one. The lights are really hitting it. That's this up in here. Now we're going to kind of separate this down here. Not with black, but with the right color. It's really dark in here. And it has this darkness on the cloud here too. And then pull the airbrush away so things start to melt in and become, whoops. And then there's a nice, right here, there's a darkness of a greenish shadowy kind of just pull the airbrush away and paint what you see the best you can. And now all that whiteness is gone. And you can even, like right in here, you got with the micron, you can kind of put in some, you know, so it starts to come alive. This is definitely darker here. You gotta really look at it from a distance because you could get really messed up with overkill. This is raining down. It's like raining streaks. One right here. And there's three of them. There's one there and there's one there. Air dry them. You get a feel of movement, like, and then you get the dark patch over here. And then under here, it goes. The black's going to come on top of this, but you can just kind of put that in there. And where else? In here, you get darker, real dark up in here. When I say dark, it's this greenish color that I added. It's an original color I mixed, but it needed more contrast, more darkness around the tornado. Tornado can be rebuilt back up if you start losing it. In here, and then just tint it maybe. Pencil lines go away, slowly but surely. And there's a nice stormy, this color is right here. I'm just going right on top of the black where I already had a little white fix thing there, but let's just go right in here. Spray it real light though. Because that's too light, obviously, but we want to change this color at least so that you can bring the black around it. And just bringing it in right here. Okay, now it's time to start bringing in the black again. The dark. So it's a back and forth. Fix it as you go. It's not even fixing it so much. It's just getting the base in and then starting to play with that. Get that tip dry off or it will not paint. Right? But go over to Drew Blair's website. It's called School of Realism. And if you're interested, look at some of the things that he offers. You will not be sorry. Even if you buy a stencil, because the stuff is high end. I mean, his Mylar stencils are so helpful. And then then you can learn how to use a stencil so that in the end it won't look like a stencil. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole idea. Okay, let's darken the darks again. Ready? We're going to back out a little bit. Whoa, we gotta go this way. Make this look a little bit more interesting. For some reason, your painting is blurry. Like, yeah, it's in the blurry stage right now, definitely. But you gotta remember, we're working it. It's not. I'm not at the end results yet. So having it out of focus is exactly the repairs and all the things that you do to it that will sharpen. Like, for example, right here, Michael. I'm going to come in here and get the air down, the volume down. And I'm going to start to make that shape I see right there. And come across this. And this is where it all starts to clean up a little bit. a sharper in this area will start to fix that blurriness you're saying. It's a process. It just takes time. So when you're seeing it being painted like this live, you're seeing all the, like, maybe the early stages, or call it imperfections, or but it's building up. If it doesn't look bad at one point, then it's, I don't know, then it's paint by number maybe. Where all this comes in, second coats, kick it back up, hide this little noise here by the same color. Over here, this dark cloud starts sitting behind the other one, and it just drops down like that, and then second coat it. You have to have layers. You have to have, you know, all of this working for you. Now I'm starting to see the sharpness coming out. The tornado has kind of disappeared a little, but that's not going to be a problem. So if you look at the video at this point, you're going to see things start to come more in focus, like right here. Okay, I'm just looking at the real picture right there. I've adjusted colors, and now I want to just get this, need a little more air in this area. Volume, as they would call it. And then I see this nice little softness here, and then it kind of does a little weird thing here. It's all broken up in this area a little bit. Drop downs, all, I don't even have these in yet, which would be, so let's darken this up a little bit, just so you guys can see the tornado again. I'm going to be making a new color for this area. I don't want to bring that black down there, but I'll just dust over it a little bit so you can see it a little bit. That's about it, because it's going to be another, and then the darkness will just come over. Okay, so the darkness will start riding over from the right side. You can feel the nighttime kind of feeling coming on here. Second coat over the green a little, but don't go full black. And then just bring this closer right to here. And it gets lost down here. The tornado actually kind of gets lost in the darkness at that bottom part. Like that. Then you knock that back in. Let's bring that over to this side now a little bit. There's a little glow of light under there, so I'm going to let that be lit up a little bit. And now I'm going to look at the actual area here and start bringing up some of that darkness into the clouds that are here, because the overspray went down onto that. So now get this more knocked back a little bit. This, I don't know how it looks as far as on your side, as far as black or whatever, but it's got the greens in it here. That's definitely going to be another. And then there'll be this kind of stuff later, next week, where we're going to bring down a little raining. Up. Tip dry room, that little execution. So it starts to sharpen up as we go. Yeah, this will all come back. I'm going to mix a new gray for that, and this will show, this will stand out. Yeah, it just takes time to do it. Let's do a little more of the left side, my left, just a little bit. Just kind of get some color on there a little bit. All right, so obviously there's a lot of adjusting to do, but we'll do it. I don't want to really use this black here, so I'm not gonna. I gotta define that just a little more, but I'm gonna probably knock it back and adjust it on the next video. I just want you guys to see that it's kind of going in that direction. All right, I'll put a little bit on the tornado just so you can see the tornado better. But that's not what the tornado is going to look like. It's going to be more of a gray. But once you get that nice green in here, let's see, this is one of two. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to cut this off so you get a feel. I got two pictures, so I can do that. Okay, so I'm going to take this. I'm going to back out. Yeah, you were right. I should have known. Yeah, if you watch your own videos, you'll see some things that you'll be like, wow, that's not looking right? Because you're in the early stages. But this will all work. Let's just take this off this picture. I'll just cut it on the side. And let's have some fun pretending that the ground is done. And a lot of the storm will start making more sense because we're talking about, just like this. Oh, well, imagine that, But then we see, where are we? We're getting there. We got work cut out for us, but it's getting there. A lot of people might think, oh, there it is. Not yet. I can't do it that fast. Now you take the green, which fell off to the side, and you think of this one. I know it's got little things on it, okay? So now you take this green and you put it there. Now once the white of the board is gone, the mood of the picture, that's thick paper, so you see a white line there, but the mood starts changing. So if I can execute this and start getting and adjusting some things in here, and popping out and settling back, raining down some clouds like you would see right here. See the raining down clouds? They have to be put in, but I have to make sure this is correct first. Then I'll redo this area a little bit better. And yeah, and so like I said, look at that, and then look at that. Now the white of the board is gone, and all of a sudden the storm starts to take on I'll tilt that up a little and get rid of that white's there because it's thick paper. But there's a big difference. So color needs to be next to color to help us appreciate what's really going on in the whole picture. I'll be looking at this when I get done with the video. I'll have it on my desk all week, and maybe I'll even do a little tiny work on it. But at that point, that's what's going on, you know. I was talking about, one of my guys was asking about drawing. Can I do, I don't have an airbrush. Can I do any of this, you know, can I make a tornado with pencils, you know, whatever. And the thing is, you can, if you have some tools that are inexpensive. So a little graphite thing going on here, just in case he's watching this. Like that, and you start blurring out the edges with the tortillon, and you can get effects. Then if you want, you know, you could do the smear thing. You could take a tissue, not a paper towel, and you could, instead of having lines, you could take some of this and on sandpaper, put the powdery residue here, take a tissue and then sweep across, you know. Let's just see if I could do it a little bit. I don't really have, let me just get my sharpener for a minute. Okay, so I get the pencil going like that. I get a piece of sandpaper. So you can have fun without an airbrush, make it something really cool. Probably, I would say the sandpaper for the wood. Give me 1 second, guys. Here, this kind of sandpaper. So what is that? It's a 100. It's wood sandpaper. And you can take that, let the shavings go down onto that to be caught, and just kind of go like that. So hopefully he will see this. Then you could just take a tissue. Let me get a tissue. Okay, so you start to look for it. You're trying to get away from pencil lines, if that's the look you want. And then you take your new piece of paper. Right, I got to get this paint out of the way. When the painting starts to speak to me, and it's not yet, meaning, oh, I'm starting to see what I'm looking for here. So anyway, real quick, you sweep across here like that, especially on a smoother board, and you can avoid, you know, you can avoid all your. Now you go darker over that. You get darker leads, the 6B, that kind of stuff. And you could start coming in here and making clouds, but you didn't have to just put a million pencil lines like that. You smooth, you know, and then you could erase out areas. You could do some highlights of some clouds like that, and find your way without an airbrush, having a little fun. You can really come out really nice actually in the long run, because you can come back in here and start, you know, tweaking this area a little bit with some dark around there, and then taking your blender, you can start blurring that, smashing that away, and you could get soft like an airbrush. You can do a black and white picture, that kind of thing. So that is a little graphite thing that you can have fun with, and you can take that really far. I mean, this isn't even the right paper to do it on. So I just wanted to show that to the guy, whoever that was, asking me when I did the advertisement. So hopefully you guys will come back and see if I can make this look more realistic. Again, This will be painted next week, this part a little bit, but um, this will be all, you know, correct the way it's supposed to be. It'll be, you'll really see it, and it will be not fuzzy, but it still will have not sharp edges. I don't have the right color mix, so I'm not going to mess with that. It's a gray that's different than the other grays. It's kind of the black and white kind of gray with a little brown in it. That will be that. And then I can take transparent colors, and you could start, you know, putting the greens in. Like I can make this color without the white, and then it's see-through, and you can just start tinting the whole sky. Let's see if I can do that with this color. Okay, I can't get rid of the opacity, but I can definitely put a little yellow into that color. I'm just going to try it. Is that open? Nope, it's not even open. Happiness is having inventory. So it's probably not even that color. So let's just take that color, mix it in. It's more green. It's way too green. Remember I talked about, oh man, I just ruined that color. Well, what's the opposite of yellow? The opposite of yellow is violet. So I have violet off to the side somewhere. Let me just put it on the tip of a paintbrush and watch the yellow get knocked back. So you don't have to like go, oh, I ruined the color. But I need a paintbrush, small little dude. Here we go. That's not the paintbrush I wanted, but I'll use it. So you put this in, the violet into that mixture, and watch the yellow calm down. See, it's going away. I don't know if you guys can see that. I'll do it one more time, but you can't put a drop in there or you'll start getting like a brown or brown green. Now that yellow that I put too much in is controlled. It's gone. So use color theory, and let's just take a little bit of, get some color out. I got black in there. Yeah, and then once you focus on one area and you start stencil and making that cloud look really cool, then all of a sudden you're just working it. You're just bringing it to where you want to bring it. And yeah, so what I'd be working on privately, not trying to do a video, maybe just doing this privately, I wouldn't be even going this fast. I'm trying to show you a little bit more, you know, than maybe I would do privately. You do it, you have fresh eyes, you walk out of the art room maybe an hour, 2 hours in. It's a 2-hour video, but I'm talking and then you come back the next day or later that night with fresh eyes, especially if you're doing like a pooch with fur, and all of a sudden you feel refreshed. You see mistakes you made, and if you don't have mistakes, then I want to know who you are so I can learn from you. But the thing is, that's the thing. You gotta get away from the painting too. So now I'm testing this green, and I'm gonna, if you look here, you can see that greenish tint, and I'm gonna just kind of tint it a little bit right in there. It's not even enough. It's actually not enough to do that. So I don't want to take the yellow right out of the thing. I could take, let's see, I could take a little bit of, I don't want to do that either. I got like moss green. I'm going to try it. I got nothing to lose. I'm going to take a little bit of moss green and just put it in the airbrush with some 4021, and some of that original color is still in there. I'm just going to backwash it a little bit. I don't know if that's good to do, but I just did it. Okay, now I got some green. Let's get this ominous, weird color in there. There we go. Put it down here, here. So you're just adding it like a tint. That's it. You know, just don't go too far with it. You know? That's what's up there in the sky. It gives it that mood. That's getting too, now that's going too far because I sprayed it more like that, like what it really is, super dark. But if you treat it real gingerly, you could get that, that tint. So just experiment. So I'm gonna do one last thing and close shop. It's 5 of. I'm gonna go back to my white if I still have it, which is the correction color. Where'd it go? There it is. Put a little bit of reducer in there. And maybe a drop of white even. So it's just this color here. Where's my white? Don't forget to shake your bottles, right? Okay, stirring that around. Now that looks like, it will look more white on the painting, and it will control blue shift. Still have green in the gun though. Lots of green, so I gotta flush that out, or I'm not gonna get anywhere with the white. Some days are messier than other days. I've had some spills today. My dirty water. I don't know how it happened, but it was on a tray. It was the dirty water from mixing colors and cleaning the brush, the stirring brush, and down it went all over the wood floor. I had it, but it didn't do any damage or anything. It just, it's 6:30 when it happens, and it's like, really. My wife hears me in the art room moaning and groaning like, "Ugh, what happened? I ain't gonna do these live feeds no more." I don't want to get too white there, but it can tint it again later. I'm just preparing for it to be tinted again. So I want it to stand out a little bit. And it's obviously too stark, but that's how I did it the first time, and I found my way. Let's see, this guy's going to go this way a little more. And I'll tint it too, just so you can see that it's not going to be horrible looking. Aim down. Come up here with this little thunderhead dude. And go up there. Air dry it a little bit. I'm kind of redoing an area on purpose though. And this will all just melt into that. So let's just get the green one more time and knock the cloud back. Slowly but surely, especially when I have fresh eyes, I will get what I'm looking for. So now that's not a white cloud. It's kind of a tinted one. So we'll just spray over it, knocking it back into the picture, and then shadowing around it and that kind of stuff. Tweaking it becomes very, that's when you're really going at it at the end. Little fine details. The black will go back around those shapes. They're not really dots like that, just kind of. So before I get crazy with the white, I will, I will stop there before I make more work for myself. Okay, right there, get it over there. Okay, I'm going to stop at this point. I'm happy with where it's going, but it's going to be, like I said, a study. So one last look of executing this part later. And if you just squint your eyes a little bit, and you know that we can clean up all this, clean up the spill on aisle 6, it will start to look like what you're looking for. Okay, so thanks for hanging out. And Michael, thank you. And let's see. Oh, thank you, Michael. I really appreciate the compliment. To know that it's a great lesson. That's right. You study the picture later. You to get a magnifying glass. You say, what's going on here? You know, is there individual grass here? There isn't out here. It's more just color changes and texture. But here it's the camera's close up, so you can see what you got to put in. A few daisies or whatever they are, the little flowers that grow outside, and maybe that little sand thing down there might be a road. I think it might be a road. But anyway, yeah, there's so much attention to details, right? So thanks, Dan. Thanks for everyone that's hanging out and hung out. The ones that watched it before and popped in and out. Hopefully you shared it. Share it, and if you are interested, subscribe, and you will be notified, you know, to the next thing. Like I'm trying to do more than 2 a month. I'm trying to do, and I'm going to start trying to do some uploads of videos that are not live, because I think the people that are on my channel that aren't paying attention to the live feeds, they think I stopped with uploads quite a while ago, which I did because I'm doing the lives. So by doing an upload too, I can say, hey guys, go over to the live section. You'll see a lot of, they're already done, but you'll see a lot of where I've been. All right, so here's the back off picture. There's up close. And there's my messy studio. Oh boy, do I got a lot to clean up. Get this phone out of here. Get my fingers away from. So there's my mess. I've got a real mess going on here. Look at this. Look at the Q-tips and bottles that fell. Stuff over there that spilled. Well, yeah, one of them spilled. Just what a messy studio right now. If you saw the Mustang, I have step by step of the Mustang, and you would say, oh man, that looks pretty bad. But then as you stay with it, like the wheels, you know, everything, one more thing here, everything that you're working on eventually comes together. You know, I mean, this took a while to get, and yeah, you stay with it, and then all of a sudden you have, you know, your heat distortion, and you could say, well, that's blurry. Well, that's supposed to be blurry, right? And then that jet up there, and they're not all necessarily finished. Like the hummingbird's not finished, the eagle's not finished, he's not finished, but more jets, right? I forget, Lauren Bacall, black and white, Timothy John Luke's inks, Timothy's inks. That was my cat. We call it the cat and mouse. And they look bad in the early stages. They look like, okay, you know, but if you hang with them, you can start to get, that's a print of my painting. That was a commission. And that sucker, that's where I started to learn to take breaks. Go back in, take a break, come back. There's Terry Hill doing a demo somewhere, I forget. And yeah, there's Lauren Bacall again. I don't know. I guess I saw her and I thought the lighting on this was fun to do. I did that on a t-shirt too. So there's another kitty cat, but more in color. The other one, flames behind the fish, the great white. So they all look bad in the early stages. They really do. I mean, this isn't finished, but it started to come together. You know, my first portrait at Drew Blair's school with his help. I was so excited. Captain Pickard, black and white, watercolors. That might be my wife's painting, which is really pretty. Cartooning, having a little fun. You know, I've showed this stuff before. Fluorescence, that paint makes me cough, that wicked colors, because I was teaching and talking. So anyway, yeah, all kinds of hidden treasures, right? My mama, I miss her, and my unfinished. I have a lot of unfinished work. Color wheel. Get a color wheel from Drew Blair. My school back in the day. Sorry, I went real fast. Teaching, trying to. One of my first portraits I did. That's just a lousy print off. Inking in, having fun with microns, inking in things. There's that same painting, but on a T-shirt. That's a big shirt too. Big. And then I've showed this a little tour, right? The Ott-lite. Get an Ott-lite, man. Your colors just show up so great. Turn them on. You'll see things you never saw before. See, there's no satin finish on that, so it might look better that way. None of these have their clear on it. Yeah, art desk full of paintings, right? But they all will come out eventually if you hang in there with it. Where's my wife's rose? Somewhere. I got to finish that. I might finish the rose on Facebook. But so there's the messy studio. Pillows for this old man's body. My chair is getting too, and then my trays on the side to put stuff on. My dipper, take the airbrush and I flush it in there. And utility lamps with color correct light bulbs, not yellow kind of thing. There's my painting the other day of that. So anyway, guys, that's the tour of the studio again. My Mach 1. I had one. I had a 1970 Mach 1 with a white hood scoop, 351 Cleveland. All my art books from my art school. Brought them home. Learned a lot. So I was learning on the job because I had a sign shop and everybody wanted me to teach art. And I was like, okay, how do you do cartooning? Well, you go to Barnes and Noble and you study it. That's how you do it. So anyway, there's a long shot. And I'll close out on that. Take care, guys. See you on the next one. We'll just go one more time close to the actual painting that we were working on. And we'll close there. Take care. Thanks for hanging out. God bless you guys. I'm trying to hit the thing, but it's not in its stand. There we go.